This is a short story about an emperor who became Christian and wanted to use Christianity to unify his empire. Only a person with a great deal of clout could do that, and Constantine was such a person. This is the Arch of Constantine. It's a triumphal arch erected in Rome between the Colosseum and the Palatine Hill. It was a memorial to his victory over Maxentius at the Milvian Bridge in 312 AD. The monument is not totally Christian, as it is a mixture of sculpture, but it was dedicated in 315 AD on July 25th, the 10th anniversary of Constantine's reign, and today it is the largest surviving triumphal arch and the last great monument of Imperial Rome. During the first few years of Constantine's reign, he was eager to show his support for Christianity. He restored all confiscated property. He imposed restrictions on marriage and divorce, lining himself up with the church's morality. And although he functioned as supreme pontiff of the pagan rites to the state, he ultimately prohibited pagan officials from offering sacrifices to the Roman gods. He was also ambitious to promote Christian art and to make Christian Palestine a land of great Christian shrines. He built a church at the site of Jesus' birth, the Nativity. And there it is. Now, this is not the original structure, because all of the basilicas that Constantine built will be improved upon and developed over the centuries. But this is the original spot. It marks a traditional spot of the birth of Jesus, and it is one of the oldest surviving Christian churches. This was commissioned in 326 by Constantine and his mother, St. Helena, and dedicated on May 31st, 339. Constantine's church was destroyed by Justinian in 530 and rebuilt as the larger church of today. This is the traditional site of Jesus' birth. In Jerusalem, Constantine built the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. In 325, it was ordered by Constantine's mother when they tore down a temple to Venus, which was built on the site by Hadrian during his efforts to end pilgrimages to the tomb of Jesus, and to rename Jerusalem Aelia Capitolina. It stands on the site that is believed to include both Golgotha, or Calvary, where Jesus was crucified, and the tomb of the sepulchre, where he was buried. From this site, a beam of wood was found, and it was considered to be part of Jesus' cross. St. Helena is given credit for its discovery, and a relic from this beam is in many Catholic churches today. When St. Helena, the mother of Constantine, traveled to the Holy Land between 326 and 328, she identified two spots on the Mount of Olives as being associated with Jesus' life: the place of his ascension and a grotto associated with his teaching of the Lord's Prayer. This is the Church of the Ascension. On her return to Rome, she ordered the construction of two sanctuary complexes at these locations, and Constantine built a three-level church on this site in 330, commemorating the Ascension. The modern church of the Pater Noster is built on the Mount of Olives near the Church of the Ascension. At the Church of the Pater Noster, Christians remember Christ's teaching of the Lord's Prayer to his disciples. A long tradition holds that the prayer was taught in a cave that forms the grotto underneath the church. And the cave did exist under the church in Jesus' time. first church on the site was built by Constantine's mother, Queen Helena, and destroyed in the Persian invasion of 614. A replacement was built by the Crusaders, but the current building dates back only to the 19th century. In the 12th century, the Crusaders built a church, called it the Pater Noster. In Rome, we have Christianity's oldest basilica. Ordered by Constantine, it became the Pope's own cathedral and residence for the first 1,000 years of Christian history. Constantine dedicated it to Jesus the Savior to confirm Christ's superiority over the Roman gods. Today it is called St. John Lateran, and this is its facade. The palace on Monte Celio and the property formerly belonging to the Laterani family was given to Pope Miltiades in 311. Constantine tore down the adjoining horse guard barracks, which had supported Maxentius in his fight against Constantine, and he commissioned the construction of the world's first Christian basilica. From then on, the Lateran Palace was the Pope's official residence until the 15th century. It was consecrated by Pope Sylvester in 314 and dedicated to Christ the Savior. St. John Lateran has endured many things over the centuries. It was sacked by Alaric in 408 and Genseric in 455. Rebuilt by Pope Leo the Great, Leo I, 440, and by Pope Hadrian in 772. It was almost entirely destroyed by an earthquake in 896, and it was restored by Pope Sergius, who ruled from 904 to 911. It was heavily damaged by fires in 1308 and 1360. Upon returning to Rome from Avignon, where they had lived from 1304 to 1377, popes found the basilica and the palace in such disrepair that they decided to transfer the papal residence to the Vatican, near St. Peter's Basilica, which was also originally built by Constantine. Pope Sixtus V tore down the original Lateran building and replaced them with late Renaissance structures. Pope Innocent X hired the architect Francisco Borromini to transform the interior in time for the Jubilee year of 1650. Pope Clement the 12th held a competition for the design of the new facade for the Lateran. Of the original Lateran Basilica and Palace, only the Pope's private chapel, the Sancta Sanctorum, or Holy of Holies, remains. As an approach to the chapel, Pope Sixtus V removed the Scala Sancta, the staircase, which Jesus is believed to have ascended to Pontius Pilate's palace in Jerusalem, which, according to tradition, was brought to Rome by St. Helena herself. Historical events at the Lateran include 5 ecumenical councils and many synods. In 1929, the Lateran Pacts, which established the territory and status of the State of Vatican City, were signed at the Lateran by the Pope and the government of Italy. It now holds the offices of the Cardinal Vicar of Rome. In 1992, on July 27th, a bomb explosion devastated the facade of the Roman Vicariate at St. John Lateran. It's widely assumed that it was the work of the Italian mafia as a warning against Pope John Paul II's frequent anti-mafia statements. Repairs completed in January of 1996. Although the Vatican is now the papal residence and St. Peter's holds the most papal ceremonies, the Holy Thursday liturgy, when the Pope symbolically washes the feet of priests chosen from various parts of the world, is celebrated at St. John's Lateran. This is the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. This is St. Peter's Basilica around 1450. This is St. Peter's today. St. Paul outside the walls is one of Rome's 4 ancient Christian basilicas. They include St. John Lateran, St. Peter's, and St. Mary Major. St. Paul outside the walls is located in Italian territory and not Vatican City, but it has diplomatic status. It's considered to be over the burial place of St. Paul, as St. Peter's Basilica is considered to be over the burial place of St. Peter. And this is St. Peter. Constantine, who deferred his baptism until the time of his death, raised money for all of these projects by taxing Eastern governors. This is only 10 years after they were being instructed by Diocletian to persecute Christians. In the projects, the local bishop took a back seat. It was clear these were Constantine's projects, as he was viewing himself as a key player in all affairs of the church. This is considered to be the first intrusion into the church by the state. Constantine not only directed the buildings, he became involved in disputes such as the Donatus controversy and the difficulties raised by Arius and his popular teaching about Jesus. The Eastern bishops generally welcomed his intervention. After all, the Eastern emperor was persecuting them only a few years before. The West, not so sure about his intervention. The East developed a theory of the relationship of church and state, which today we call Caesaropapism. That is, Constantine viewed himself really as the head of the church, Caesar as Pope.